Kidnapped by
him. Still work. Retirement start in 75, so you still have to work another 5 years.
tire means just to change the tire and ran much faster.
No, it's, I think like so. What I'm doing is also early retirement. Yeah, I decided not to work full time 10 years ago. And then do this. So I retired 10 years before you. I retired at 50. Yeah.
목사님 시작하시면 돼요?
Okay. Let's start.
Yes, please.
Good afternoon and welcome all offline and online participants. From now on, we will start the 16th Asia Vision Forum seminar. I'm Dr. Om Eun-hee, and today's moderator, and I'm one of this Asia Vision Forum members. Today we have a special guest, Dr. James Gomez. Hi, Gomez.
Nice to be here.
Very nice to meet you in our place. Before the main presentation, let me briefly introduce you. Dr. Gomez is a political scientist and a famous scholar who focused on human rights and democracy, and recently analyzed the technology impacts, especially AI, on governance and political participation in Asia. And he's presently the regional director of A시a센터 based in Bangkok, Thailand. You are founder. Maybe give us a little bit information. And Dr. Gomez is working for various international organizations and universities throughout Asia. And as I know, Dr. Gomez also are having very strong ties with civil society groups in Asia and globally. Am I right?
Yes. Thank you.
And, if there are any questions to my introduction, feel free to add in your presentation. Today, Dr. Gomez will share his experience and suggestions for us with the title, The Role of Independent Research Centers, Reflection from Asia. I think the title are pretty broader. Frankly speaking, the priority to today's meeting, we didn't have any pre-coordination on the topic of today. So, narrowing down the broad title, in detail, I expect you to address and list the three subtopics. Okay, so may I give the question firstly? Okay, so our first question is what and how does your organization, A시a센터, research as an independent research organization? So I expect you will give us the brief the history.
Yes.
Why did you make this kind of organization, and the exactly what are you doing in your organization? And then secondly, what is the role of independent research organization in South Asia regions, or why are those kinds of organization needed, or more frankly speaking, or really activized this kind of the organization? And then thirdly, I want to know what is the main purpose of our meeting or your visit to our place. What kind of research collaboration do you think is possible in the long term with Korean partners, specifically our organization, ABIFO or others? Okay, so I prepared these three questions, and then from now on, the floor is yours. It's your turn.
Okay, thank you very much. Very great to be here, all the friends at Asian Vision Forum. I want to begin by saying that I want to say I'm an old friend of Korea because in 2001, President Kim Dae-jung invited several youth from Asia Pacific region as the new Democrat leaders. I remember he was quite pro-democracy at that time. So I had a chance to visit the Blue House. I received a very famous Kim Dae-jung watch. And then I also have a picture which is in my house of me shaking hands with President Kim Dae-jung. So, for me, because I know Seoul and Korea at that time, so the keyword democracy is a very important associational term for me when I think about Korea. Secondly, before COVID, around 7-8 years ago, I also received the Korean Democracy Foundation Fellowship for a year. This was, the model is you spend a little bit time in Korea because Korea is quite expensive, but then throughout the year, you work on some research project. Again, it was something on democracy in Asia. Last but not least, I have been invited to the May 18 Gwangju Memorial Forum 2 times. My first time was in 2012, and then later I went again, maybe nearly 10 years later, one more time. So I have that kind of, sort of democracy connection with Korea, and that is why, I think for Asia-Center and any other organization of Korea who share some similar topic, it doesn't have to be directly on democracy, so to speak, but just broadly, generally, it's about, human participation and agency in the world we lived in, basically. So that's my first point. So Asia Center is 10 years old. Asia Center is 10 years old. In June 2015, we were founded. So next June 2025 will be 10 years old. By December this year, we have 3 offices. We have one regional office that is nearly 10 years old. We have an office in Malaysia, which is about 6 years old on paper, but because half of the time it was shut because of COVID. Only this year we start to operate, and then early this year we opened an office in Cambodia. Our income, our combined income from the 3 offices in 2024 was $500,000 right? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, $500,000. But it takes a long time to raise that money, and all of that money comes from project funding, right? I will discuss a little bit more about that, either online or offline, not a problem. Yeah. So I'll begin by saying why Asia Center was started. So I'm from the university initially. Right, and I work on international relations and political science, focus on Southeast Asia in particular. And I'm from Singapore, so at that time, the main university was National University of Singapore. There was also in Nanyang Technological University. So I'm familiar with the National University of Singapore as a student. But I want to kind of zoom up in Southeast Asia and just say my observation in Southeast Asia was whether it was public university or private university, the ability to discuss issue on politics, about issues of democracy and human rights was very little. There was very little room to discuss this issue. In the early days, it was okay. Actually, maybe 15, 20 years ago, I think, there was still some space. But over the years, the space has shrunk. In the old days, universities will sponsor conference venue. That they might even, offer you tea break, and you can organize activities on many, many topics. But nowadays, this is not possible. Public universities are probably more challenging because everybody is afraid of everybody else, so you can't organize anything that is so-called sensitive. Private universities, they they are focusing on engineering, computing, hospitality, and all of that. They are, they have no space to discuss, democracy and human rights issue. So I found the university venue to discuss these issues are very, very limited. There are some individuals or individual scholars may be interested in discussing this issue, but their ability to do so is also limited because of bureaucratic structures. Sometimes, you disagree with your colleague and all of that. So that's one. My second career was with international organizations. I used to work with intergovernmental organizations and NGOs. Anything that has a vague sense of diplomacy, whether it's the UN, intergovernmental organization, diplomatic service and all of that, it's always very, very, neutral. They don't take sides. They don't discuss issues of democracy and human rights very clearly. So when I was working in these organizations, I found there was a severe limitation in discussing these issues frankly. And remember, what we want to do is to discuss these issues intellectually. We are not here to overthrow governments, disrupt, traffic and all of that. This is just, intellectual exercise to explore ideas and maybe give some kind of constructive solutions for society and policymakers to take on board, so the world can be a more better place to live in. But yet, the ability and the space to discuss these issues are limited because the people's mindset is not right. They are afraid of this, they have some values, they say this is no good, So when I observed these two things, I realized, okay, if you work under a university or you work under, some kind of intergovernmental or governmental type of agency, you cannot do these issues and discuss them freely. So in order to do that, I decided that it has to be established outside of the premises and control of these two structures. So this is the first thing. Because in order to be truly independent, you must free yourself from any form of, connection or affiliation from that. So that's the first one. So that's more sort of political. The secondly is how do you pay for it, right? That's the big question, right? How do you pay for it? So I don't believe in begging, I think, even if you have small money, if you use your small money wisely, yeah. So I believe in the culture of giving rather than taking. So I decided that, in order to kick this off, I will not go and beg anyone for money. I will use what I have, and my resources are not very much, but I said I'll use what resources I have, I pull it together, and I had a plan. The plan was to invest in real estate. So I invested in 2 office spaces in Bangkok, and then a few years later, one in Malaysia, and then most recently, only this year, end of last year, I invested in Cambodia, an office space similar to this size. And I invested in the Thailand real estate even before I execute the plan. Because I think if you own your shop, nobody can ask you to move. This is important. The issue here is many people can give, or they have the ability. In fact, they probably have more resources than me. And remember, I invest in countries where the property price is quite low. But the people who don't have the ability to give. That's the advantage and the power I have over most people, because most people cannot give $100 freely, right? So that's the power. right? $100 we can give, but to give $1 million, that's different, right? So the capital, investment in the real estate across those 3 countries, right, is nearly equivalent to, I would say, USD 1 million. So that is the first investment. And then the second investment was for each of the offices. Of course, they are not done one time, they are done over the period of 10 years. The next investment I made is the interior. So to give you an example of the Asia-Center in Thailand when we start. So after buying the office, I had rented it out first because, at that point, I bought the office in 2012 and then I started operation in 2015. For 3 years, I rented it out. At 2012, we were thinking about the strategy, planning and concept and all of that. Then after that, when we are ready, I again invested in the renovation of the office, put the partition, the carpet, some tables, some computers and all of that. And then I hired 2 staff. And I paid their salary for nearly 3 years. But I was working full time. I think the first 2 years as a lecturer and then 1 year as an international staff. So I spent nearly, between half to 30% of my salary paying for the staff, right? To build, because I have been working at universities and international organizations, I know you need runway. So if Asian Vision Forum is 4 years, I would say you will need 5 to 10 years before. You need 5 years to take off. At least 5 years. So slowly. Don't run yet. Just take a walk. And then so like I said, there's no revenue, right? I don't take a salary, so this is must be clear. I don't take a salary. I have some passive income. I have family members who help, but I don't take. It's easier for me for fundraising also. And I meet partners, I say, I don't take, they respect that, and then they're willing to give because they know you are doing this voluntary. So, and then so first is the real estate, second is the infrastructure, the renovation, the equipment and all that, and third is what I call the startup salary for the staff, right? So, when you do that, the first few years, right, nobody will come to you because the initial reaction that I got was skeptical. Can this work? You see, in any enterprise, right, it always works. In the end, it works as long as you have stamina and your resources to run 10 years. If you run for 10 years, you win, for sure. But you must stay afloat, right? So you must have the runway, the vision. You must know. When I begin, I knew I have to wait because I've already been working, and I have seen how organizations grow and so on. And I know if you are selfish, if you are a worker, you only need to take money, you won't make it. So I give, right? Then after that, have to wait. So in the beginning, nobody come to us. Very lonely. Office was very empty. But we slowly promote, right? So in the beginning, we organize a lot of activities. People come, we offer some drinks, some cake, people come and all that. That is publicity, right? And the one who eventually come to us, and I will explain what we do later, even interns, don't choose us. They only choose us as the last resort. So they will apply to the UN, they will apply to the international organization, they will apply to the university, because Thailand is very popular. I mean, of course, part of where you set it up is also strategic. It was very clear to me that if I wanted to set up a regional organization, it has to be Thailand. We have a joke. Indonesia should be the true regional capital of Southeast Asia. But the reason why we don't go to Indonesia, because Indonesia is not only corrupt, it's slow, it's huge, it's problematic. I know Indonesia quite well. I speak Bahasa. They are never clear. They don't talk straight. How to operate like that, right? Yeah. And if you open the organization there, it'll be full of Indonesians. So suddenly you will lose your identity. You don't have a regional mix. They over control everything. The real estate is not free, money flow is not free. So it doesn't work. Singapore wants to be the capital of Southeast Asia, but it's so expensive. Unless Singapore pay, nobody goes to Singapore. Singapore has to pay. Everybody wants to go. They want a job, they want education, all that, but only if it's free, right? So again, it's challenging. Thailand gives nothing to nobody. Thailand is an extracting economy, yet people go. They say the food is nice, the people are polite, So I know everybody will come. So I open at the correct place, in Bangkok. So in the early days, what I used to tell my staff is, Asia Center is the center of last resort. They only come when they have nowhere to go. So interns apply to us because they want to go to the UN, international organization. They apply, nothing. They don't get it because competition is high. Then they Google Asia Center internship, then they apply. Now in 10 years we graduate nearly 70 or 80. Very popular, very strong. Now they apply directly to Asia Center. In the early days, when we apply for research work grant, we apply for grants, or word of mouth. Nobody comes. They give it to all the established organization. But we also know that established organizations sometimes cannot deliver. They are overloaded, they don't have enough staff, all kinds of issues. So when their project is jammed, then they come to us. Last minute, with small money. And they say, can you do this quickly? And I tell my staff, we have to accept. We have to, work hard, work long hours in order to build the portfolio. So these are the kind of the early experiences of Asia Center, right? So what do we do? We do 4 things. We do research. Research is 50% of our work. Mostly we do baseline studies, policy brief, this, that, and the other. We do training. We design curriculum, and we do training for all kinds of organizations, government agencies, NGOs, universities. It depends. It depends on the brief. Yeah. And then thirdly, we do what we call advocacy, because we have a UN ECOSOC status. So when Asia Center was about 4 or 5 years old, we were invited to apply for ECOSOC status. But I will go back and I will discuss this slide a bit later. I'll come back to it. And then the last thing we do is we do media promotion. Similar to you. We promote ourselves on social media and all that, and we are quite well known. And of course, we operate in English. Research is 50%, training and organizing events is about 30%, 10% is advocacy, and then 10% is about creating media content. What is the area we work in? Like I said, we position ourselves as a civil society research institute. This is very important. And I think this is where I'm coming to kind of talking about what you do. We are not a security think tank. We are not a geopolitical think tank. We are not a foreign policy think tank. We are not an economic or economic security think tank. Plenty around. In fact, there are too many. We are very special. We are a civil society research institute that focuses on democracy and human rights. We are very clear. We care for nobody's opinion. If somebody think what we do is dangerous or not good, we tell them get lost, because they don't pay our money. Yeah. So we have no fear. We know, we are very clear what we are doing. We have a market share. People want us because we are confident and we can attract the funds to do our work. So this business of, creating fear around issues related to democracy and human rights is an old style, right? When you talk to young people, it's not an issue, right? But if you are confident and you can carry the issue well, the market will come to you, because they're quite clear that I can guarantee you, I'm in the business 10 years. There is market demand for this topic, for sure. And I can tell you, I raised $500,000 this year.
Oh.
Right? 2004. Next year is a different story. Every year is different. Right? But there is market share. Right? Yeah. But in order to attract work in this area, people must believe you are a Democrat. People must believe you are the person with the value, right? So you must carry the branding, the institutional branding and the branding of the leadership. It's very clear. Nobody doesn't doubt I'm a Democrat. Nobody, right? I carry it with pride and confidence, right? So I'm able to command, the respect, the market share, and the confidence to do this kind of work. And so we do the research, and then we use the research to make intervention in the UN Human Rights Council, UPR, so on and so forth. So let me then just step back a little bit in terms of the context. So you see, I put together, what you are doing, what we are doing is not unusual. The market has changed. Universities are dying. Universities are dying. In Thailand, right? If you look at my second set of information, in Thailand, in 5 years, 70%, 75% of the universities are at the risk of closing. South Korea, 50% may close in, 20 years.
The main driving force is different.
Of course, every context is different, right? Every context is different. It would be one, age, the demography of young people going here. Another thing would be finance, the ability of the state or the private sector or the market to pay for it. But what is more interesting is the students no longer want to go to university. If you go to like in America, North America, or in Thailand, we have the data, obviously. Young people don't want to go to university. In countries in which the student has to work part-time to subsidize their cost of living and so on and so forth. The student is asking, why am I going to university spending 3 to 4 years listening to someone who I don't respect? Because when the young people is in the class, they are on their phone. They're not interested in what you're saying. They want an A, that's it. Because they come, they sit, they mark their attendance. And they have been told by their parents, and they know they are paying the fee. They are working part-time to pay their fee. They are working part-time to pay their rent. They are working part-time to eat. So if they go and spend 3-4 years, the degree is not getting them a job. You see? So they say, why should I spend 4 years growing old, learning next to nothing, and then yet I have to work to pay for this? I'd rather work. Right? I'd rather work straight away. Right? So that's where, I mean, this is a different discussion, of course, but I just wanted to show you this so that we have a sense of where the market is shifting, right? And where is our position in the market. That's basically why I share this information. We are not here to solve the university problem. That's a different consultancy. We can discuss that further. Secondly is, apart from faculty position, which you all know quite well, the other thing is think tanks are also losing their relevance. That's why I never use the term think tank when it comes to Asia-Center. We use research institute. Okay, if I have a choice, I prefer to use the word knowledge hub, maybe. The role of the think tank, its credibility is affected because think tank is an artificial product. Is a product of the state and private donation. Unless the government put money into the building, into the expense, into the cost salary, think tanks cannot function. They cannot exist. It's a fake. It's an artificially constructed entity. And then add another problem. If government gives money, government will appoint people. So you have a problem where they speak among themselves. They rotate among themselves, they appoint themselves, and so on and so forth. Every country is like that, whether it's on foreign policy or economics and so on, or security. Security is also an important part. So these are state creations, right? So you can't say they are independent, right? And it depends on the different administration, right? As different administration come into power, they may increase or reduce the funding based on the priority of the foreign policy. So we did not want to be part of that. Okay, I think this is one slide ahead. I'll just still be here. Yeah. So in short, right? When here, good. So in short, because of the drop in research academic position in university and the drop in funding for think tanks are also, what they produce is irrelevant. And the third thing is the notion of the expert is no longer relevant. You see, because in the old days, we have to study 15, 20, 30 years and then you become an expert. And then everybody invite you to talk about this. Now, no use. You can just Google everything. You don't need broker, you don't need specialists. If you are intelligent enough, you can assemble the information. So the role of the expert is also irrelevant. So you don't, at Asia-Center, right, we never invite expert. Waste time, waste money. We always invite the third level, fourth level, fifth level speaker and give them a break because they are grateful, you see. You invite them, you give them opportunity, they will come on time, they will prepare the research know-how. You invite the superstar, they will cancel you last minute and cause a lot of money and problems. So we never invite, waste time. Yeah. So, and then the last is, because of these problems, the ability to do research and so on has been reduced, right? And and things like that. So, in this reduced market, what is the behavior? Okay. So, because of the collapse of the universities and the fact that think tank opportunities are less, and think tank opportunities only attract their own people, you suddenly have a lot of people who are unemployed or very, very available. So the first instinct for these people who are interested in research and intellectual work and all of that is they become consultant. This is a step I never take because I know it's a waste of time. Consultants don't make it because you are a one-man show. If you want to be a consultant and you want to earn money, run a family, and all of that, good luck. You won't make it. Because they can only pay so much for a consultant. And as a consultant, you only have so much capacity to do. You probably need 3 or 4 consultancy at the same time to get a normal salary to live for one person. But for you to do these 3-4 pieces of work, if you get it, is very, very challenging. So most of your individual consultants, have mental health issues, stress, this, that, and I'll give you an example. I was in Cambodia last week in Phnom Penh. I went to this very famous cafe called La Chronique. I was supposed to be there in the meeting with some partners. So I usually don't go to this kind of place, which is popular. But anyway, I went to meet. And I saw at least there were 8 people, on the laptop, having calls, looking very busy, very serious. Actually, I feel sad for them. There they are, they all look foreigner, yeah, for sure. They are not Cambodian. Right? They're all there in Cambodia, 8 of them sitting in this La Chronique cafe, all having calls, my best guess, all working as a consultant because, I know Cambodia quite well. And I turned around to my colleague and I said, difficult, cannot make it. It's nice when you're very young and dreamy and you want to try it, but in practical case, it don't work. So, but we have this phenomena I call the rise of the individual consultant. A rise that wouldn't last very long. Most of them burn out, fail, depressed, all of that. The few who are successful, they have patronage. They have patronage, they are cronies. They are cronies for the government. Their political master will feed them. Contract, project. This, okay, that's different. This one we cannot control. But these are not the independent professional ones. These are based on patronage. Very few. Then there is some effort to move from individual consultant to maybe more corporate entity, like a think tank. So what you are trying to do, what we have done. So I think this is where the challenge comes. Because you have 3 costs. One is your institutional cost, your building, right? 2, your operational cost, your internet, your phone, your laptop, your table and chairs. And 3rd is staff, right? So for all organizations that want to move and set up some kind of independent entity, these are the 3 things that would be of concern. the building. So Asia-Center approach was to buy its own offices. So we cleared the first problem. The second one is the what I call the operational cost. The laptop and all of that. Most donors will not give you money for a laptop, to buy a laptop, even if it's a 3-year project. Very seldom, right? And then you don't just. In fact, laptop and desktop is cheap. It's the software that is expensive. You need Microsoft Office, Outlook, antivirus. You need design software. You need SurveyMonkey. You need database, mailing list. You need, let's say, Microsoft Teams or Google package. One email is $5 a month. Your software cost already is more than your hardware cost. Then internet charge, electricity, all of that. So that's operational. And finally, staff. So in funding, almost all don't give core funding. The minute somebody give you core funding, they own you. Yeah. So many organizations like Asia-Center, right? We are now operate only project funding, right? We have to manage. But there may be a time when somebody wants to offer us a core funding. It's a natural. After 10, 15 years, someone may say, okay, here's a good institution. We want to give it a push to grow. So we give you core funding 3 years or 5 years so that you can focus on other things. But if you take the money, they will have something to tell you how to move. So this is one issue. Many funders don't give you the operational cost. They ask you to pay for it. Staff cost is what they were willing to pay, but only a very small percentage, 30%, 40%, and very, very short time. So it is here that I think those who want to build an institution face the challenge. Yeah, it's the viability of paying all your bills. So yeah. So in order, I already discussed about this slide, you need a fixed financial model, a mixed financial model. You cannot rely on one person. I think you need to separate it in terms of your institutional costs, the office building and all of that, then operational costs, then staff costs. We do not believe working from home. Asia-Center policy is not work from home, it's work on site. Because many people want to work from home, it's become a trend or a culture. So many people demand. So when someone apply for a job at Asia-Center and they say, can we work remotely? We say, please don't apply. We are not that kind of organization because we want to compete. We want to compete and we need our people on time to be better than those who work from home. I can tell you because I'm in the business 10 years, right? Work from home is no good. It's not efficient. So it may be efficient for the individual, but not for the institution. Yeah. So for us, we need our people on site, right? So we can command, control, push, so we can compete, right? So, and then there are other challenges, right? What kind of people you want to recruit, right? Senior researchers and all that, very expensive because they have bills to pay, families to look after. This kind of organization cannot generate that income to pay that level of salary. So what is the solution? I think the solution is really, even for them, is a mixed approach. Yeah, you either hire young people, fresh graduates, early career, and who can grow with you. For the senior people, you need to have a couple, 2, 3, depending on how big your team is, and their role should mostly be like managers. And then you run with junior staff. So if you have 10 people, 3 should be senior, and the other 7 should be junior. Otherwise, you won't have the money to pay, and you won't have the right mix. If the whole team is senior, it won't work. Yeah, everybody will have their own opinion and all of that. And something like this, right? This is, it comes with experience and so on. Like when I started Asia Center, right? Of course, I didn't start alone. I had a few people, who shared a vision and all of that. And I remember one of the initial, working committee who was thinking about this idea said to me, James, let's register Asia Center and let's set up a board of directors or advisors to guide us and control us on the direction. I said, nonsense. Why should I pay money to set up the Asia Center and then put a board on top of me to control me? I said, no, nonsense, get rid of it. So if you put in the effort, if you put in the money, if you put in the time, because for me time is money, you should be in charge, 100%, because it's your baby. If you start taking advice from people, advice is cheap, right? Yeah, so it's not the same as money, hard resources. So you have to make those kinds of decisions, yeah. And it's it's a bit practical. Like I said, I'm a very confident person. I take those decisions. I move forward. I try to make something success. People who tell me it won't be success, I will say, well, good luck. You can try yourself. Because these are people who have not made it happen. They only have an opinion. They think they know how to do, but I have walked 10 years. I know what is done, and I can already see the window in front. And just to kind of wrap up, right? From the beginning, when I set up Asia Center, I anticipate the negative comments, skeptical comments, but I know it can be overcome. It's because it's based on experience, right? It's like, if you have done a bakery before, from this town and you move to a next town and you open a bakery, you know how to do it, right? It's the same, right? But at the same time, I prepare for expansion. You see, competition will kill you. Every day, I get an SMS, an email, or a request to visit. And everybody wants to know, what is the Asia Center formula magic?
Magic.
Yeah, magic. Yeah. I have visitors in Bangkok all the time. They want to know how it's done. Right? It's hard work, right? But I also plan for expansion because in this journey, right, in 10 years, there are many people who want to follow the model, right? Many people have been inspired and they will compete with you. They will try to eat your market share. But you can knock them out if you have expansion plan. If you say you want to compete with Asia Center in Bangkok, I will laugh. Because you need 10 years to catch up. But I'm already in 3 countries, right? I'm already thinking whether I want to have an office in Seoul, But because my friend Hojay already opened the office, I like him a lot. So maybe not in Seoul. Otherwise, I have to eat him, you know. But maybe in Tokyo. You know, yeah. I'm also thinking about South Asia, right? Maybe India, you know. So it's truly Asia, right? And when you really have office in many countries, right? People believe. They believe. They believe you are real. You know, just like you, right? They walk into our office, they see the staff, they see the chair, they don't see one office, they see 3 offices, right? If I say to you, I am thinking about opening an office, let's say in Seoul, you will say, how? It's expensive, right? I can also tell you, tomorrow I will sign an MOU with the Korean Democracy Foundation, and they may host us as a representative office. Interesting, right? In India, several universities offer to host Asia-Center. I said no, because if I become part of you, my identity dead. Right? So you must, you know, if you have a vision, right, and you have vision in your name, you know, you must prepare for growth and competition. Yeah. So yeah, I took all of this, you know, forward thinking on board, right? And then also to hand over. So I tell myself I can do Asia Center another 10 years. Then after that I need to hand over, right? So that is kind of the, I only do one thing, you know. I only do Asia Center. In my bio, I remove everything. I remove where I study, I remove where I work, I remove all the other names. I work for Amnesty International, IDEA, Friedrich Naumann Foundation. I went to, you know, PhD from Monash, masters from, you know, Essex. I remove all of that because I don't want to share the Asia. I don't want my brand to be affected by these other brands, right? I don't mention where I work. So if you see my CV, you only see James Gomez, Asia Center. I only have one brand, right? That's all, you know. So I will pause here. I'm happy to talk some more. I can talk a long time, even without soju, but with soju I can continue. So
the insightful and how can I say, more enthusiastic presentation.
Yeah.
Your presentation makes me think many things, but rather than me, Dr. John. Dr. John.
My presentation is for him, to challenge him, you know, and to give him some sleepless night.
I hope that your presentation be helpful for specifically the Dr. John.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we have 5 to 10 minutes.
Sure.
To
Yeah.
succeed in the question or suggestion or
Yeah, we can also talk about where we can cooperate also. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have to move to next topic about
Cooperation.
yeah, you know, Korean issues or the East Asia issues.
Yeah.
And how to make a fund from the Korea government or Korea other institutions.
Okay. Yeah. I have some ideas. Of course, maybe I can start quickly. Yeah. I think there are a few things. Okay, I speak only from our perspective because we work on democracy and human rights, and you may have many issues also, you know, to speak on. I think Korea, you know, whether Korea likes it or not, it has agreed to be somehow associated with the Indo-Pacific strategy. So I think that's an entry point, Indo-Pacific strategy. of course, you can sharpen it to also include your policy on Southeast Asia. Okay, because Korea also has a specific policy on Southeast Asia. I think these are policy areas that we can connect. Maybe different government have different views, but broadly you still have a democracy sector. You depend on how much each government will give to Korean Democracy Foundation is still there. There are more and more regional activities on these topics coming to Korea. Korea, I have already been here at least 15 times over the last 20 years. So, and I've seen many people. Already this trip I met people who are attending this conference from Nepal, from Cambodia, and so on and so forth. So you have this momentum. I think you also have some connection with the universities who are also attracting students from these countries. So I think a project that is, covering Indo-Pacific or maybe focus on Southeast Asia, 10+1, or maybe focus on some key countries. I would recommend to pick a topic along themes, Here I will share with you some of the themes that we work on. We work on UDHR, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, so we look at 4 things. We look at freedom of religion and belief. We look at freedom of expression and technology, like disinformation, hate speech. We look at freedom of assembly and association. We call it civic space. Again, a lot of it has to be with online. And then finally, we look at election and foreign interference. You see the Trump election, Russia, this, that. So we work in these areas. So I think in terms of geographical agreement, I think it's quite easy to find between the two organizations. I think it's easy. You can think about Indo-Pacific or Southeast Asia. I think geographical connection is fine, but perhaps the thematic area, theme, right? Maybe one that requires a little bit more discussion. Yeah, and it will depend on your interests and desire and values and ability to do that. Yeah. So, and then of course you have to look at the call, right, from the different organization. Asia-Center is a recognized partner in Southeast Asia. Many groups, Japan, North America, Europe, they partner with us to access Southeast Asia. We know everybody in the region from our sector.
Can you name some of them?
Yeah, Oxfam. Yeah, for example, all the regional offices, Oxfam, UNESCO, Save the Children, Plan International, all the big NGOs we know. We also know local NGOs. If I name them, you wouldn't know them. Yeah. We have networks, yeah. I just give you an example. I had a meeting today with Triple GI, right? We are doing a curriculum on carbon reduction, right? So this is Article 6 of the Paris Agreement. So we are doing it because we are from the region. Yeah, we are doing the curriculum, and then the curriculum has trained the trainers for Thailand, very specific. And then we know the actors there. So that is why they are willing to connect with us. So I think the model is to inform the Korean agency, right, that you have a partner who have access. Yeah. At the time of application, of course, we can provide all the facts. Yeah. But we are in the business 10 years plus, So we have all of that. Yeah. We have also worked with ASEAN Foundation and all of that. But you see, you have to decide what kind of partner you want to work with. This is key. Because you see, everybody runs to ASEAN Foundation, this, that. in the end they cannot deliver. You know, I'll be very frank. We have explained they cannot deliver. Yeah. So you want partner who will be on time. So Asia-Center, we are on time. Our accounting is good. Our quality work is good. You work with Asia-Center, you have a business class experience. We are trouble-free. We will never come to you and say, excuse me, can I have 2-week extension? No, never. We will send you 1 week ahead. This is the brand, the Asia-Center brand. Always on time. I tell my staff, work hard, be on time, people will come back to you again and again. Most people we work with, they will say, it's so nice to work with Asia-Center, you know, or your team members are really hardworking, very responsible and all of that. Because we know what the other side needs. It's very important for our branding that we are seen as reliable. You go to those big names, no. The staff is not motivated because they are workers, you see. Yeah, you see the energy, right? I'm driven. I get it done, you know. Yeah. So that's the difference. So you need the appropriate partner to deliver. Yeah. Because you go and pick the wrong one, cannot deliver, your brand will suffer. Yeah.
Now I think the our groups are loosely organized, but your presentation, today's presentation, make her how can I say, stimulated us
Yeah.
to think of many things. Okay, yeah, thank you very much. Today's your presentation and then 혹시
끝난 거예요? 질문도?
더뭐
질문 다 하셔야죠.
예.
Well, I greatly appreciate your very practical and realistic perspective and suggestion based on the 10 years of your own experiences. So particularly I was very impressed by your points of we have to have our own branding and financial self-sufficiency and sustainability. But could you elaborate a little more on your activities, research activities and training and other activities which could contribute to upgrading your reputation as well as financial, source of. So can you explain more
Sure.
specifically about your research activities and training programs
Okay, sure.
to understand your
Yeah. So all our research that we do is commissioned.
commercial?
It's commissioned. Somebody pay for it. Yeah. How they pay for it? In the beginning, we used to apply for grants. When there's a call, there's an announcement. We apply. Mostly, the applications for everybody would not be successful because one application, maybe you have 100 people apply and you choose one. So the return is, we always say, is less than 2% success. But we were successful, partly because we have knowledge, also because I'm also known as a good researcher. I'm already known in the market a little bit, so when they see the name, people get used to it. So once you have a research, and then our research is all publicly published, it's for free, download. And when somebody see that research, right, they're looking, let's say, I just use, this is fiction, let's say human rights in Southeast Asia, we write a report. And then somebody is searching, some organization, government or whatever, they want to do a research on human rights in Southeast Asia. And they look, they see, Asia Center report. Then they look at the report. Oh, not bad. Then they contact us. So our research products are the one who bring us the most business because it's a product. I will tell you, I had a Vietnamese woman who's based in the US. She was in Bangkok recently to go to the OCHR for a meeting about some Vietnamese refugee and all that. After that, she came to meet me. And then she said, James, I want to tell you something. She said, you know, I went to OCHR, and then after I finished the meeting, they asked me, where are you going next? So I'm going to Asia-Center to meet them. Oh, Asia-Center, very good organization. We use their report. So she tell me, James, I want you to know your report is used by the UN. And they are telling me. Yeah. So this is one, right? So I just give you, we have many examples like this. So the more research we do, our research, right, at average, a minimum report with Asia Center brand is 4,000 download. 4,000 download. Individual download. Our best report called Hate Speech in Southeast Asia is 15,000 download. So you can see a lot of people know our product.
How many researchers do you have? The standing researcher as well as non-resident researcher?
5.
5?
Yeah. So my team is about 15. 15. I have 5 researchers. I have 3 units.
Okay.
I have 3 units. I have a research unit, a program unit. Program do event, training and all that. 5. Then I have admin and finance unit, 3 people. I am not counted. I'm one more staff. So about 15. In all 3 offices.
All 3?
Yeah.
Very small number.
Small number, but we do good work. Yeah. And our reputation is good. It's good quality of product. You don't need many. You just need a few high quality, impactful product. Who commissioned us? US government commissioned us to do report on freedom of religion in Southeast Asia. Thai government, I told you the hate speech in Southeast Asia is commissioned by Thai government, Ministry of Culture.
Really?
Yes, yeah. So if you have a conservative mindset, you cannot make it. Yeah. You know, you have to be open-minded. Yeah. If all your life you are not open-minded, very difficult at the late stage to be open-minded. Yeah.
But we have sometimes worries about your viewpoint, kind of. You already said, and we are concerned about the freedom of religion, speech, and election. Sometimes we worried about your research sometimes conflict with the government kind of the stance and
So what?
policies. Yeah, so what? But we are foreigners, so we are not.
Everybody is a foreigner.
Yeah.
Everybody is a foreigner. Even you are not a foreigner, they don't like you. They don't like you. Yeah.
That's a little bit different situation because you are from Southeast Asia and your origin is Southeast Asian, but we are the beyond of the Southeast Asian.
You have to find your own courage. You have to find your own courage. Courage I cannot teach you.
So most of Korean institution and research centers only the intervention about the kind of very
You see, then you
not
need,
sensitive ones.
Korean institutions are the extension of your government because you take money from the government. That's all it is. So as long as you are a beggar, you're right. You must have dignity. You see, you do this kind of work, you must have dignity. As long as you're a beggar, you take the money from the government. That's all you can do. And I come back to my first slide, right? Such institutions don't make it. You see? Part of the reason why they decline, the think tanks decline, because They are the same. They take money from the government and they reproduce. They cut their report, they bring the minister or the government agency as a guest of honor. It's nonsense, you know. So you have to be different. If you are not different, you won't have market variety. What is the new product that you bring to the market? Asia-Center is very clear. We are new, we are different. And we have built the brand for 10 years. If you are just an extension of what is existing, it won't work. So you have to find your market position. Yeah. And you need to find some courage. Otherwise, you just reproduce. You know, then you do for the sake of reproducing. Okay, you get a grant, you go, you apply, you produce, you finish, go back. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. It's a very East Asia problem. Japan is also like that. Japan and Korea both is the same. Cannot. The mindset is not there. They are very. Although Japan is changing a little bit because now, you know, with China and they are so aligned with the Americans, so they are actually adjusting the ODA to give support to civil society, and they actually have a theme on democracy and human rights.
Yeah.
Whereas I think your government is not there yet. You know, you always cannot make up your mind. You know, China always, you know, is behind you. So yeah, so perhaps if you cannot, then you have to find another angle, you see. Yeah.
I think the Korean universities and researchers always have one mind. We have to contribute the economic development of the Southeast Asia countries and peoples.
Yeah. So let me share with you. Okay. Recording is over or still on?
Still on.
Oh, still on. Okay. It's okay. I would say. Actually, there's many Southeast Asian, right? They are not beggar.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, they have more money than you. So when you bring Southeast Asians to conference in Korea, as if you pity them and you want to help them with their economic development, actually they are laughing at you. They are doing great, right? Because you are not bringing the poor from the village to Korea for a conference. You are bringing the elite. The elite have more money than you. So this is a very, very misunderstood mindset. Yeah.
I deeply agree. Even the more the leftist or the progressive government also shared the similar stance.
You know, I was invited for one of your university, local university here. They have a program on NGO management for masters. I don't know what is the name of the university. I came before COVID, you know, so I was a guest lecturer. And then when I was teaching, it was just a guest lecture, and I met all the students from, non-Korean students from Asia, because it's a scholarship. The money comes from your government. Then I talked to the course organizers. Hey, how come your students all seem very rich? You know, and I thought this course is for the NGO worker, the more sort of poorest. They said, oh, because James, we have no choice, because these are the people who applied, and we are very last minute, so we didn't have time to screen them properly, and then we have 15 place, so we need to give the 15 place, otherwise, you know, the money is wasted. We cannot spend the money for the student. So they just accept. So which means, right, you are not also spending your money properly. The same problem I saw in Taiwan. I went to Chengchi university. I went to their master's program. I did the 2-week guest lecture program, and I saw the people who are enrolled in this free, fully funded program with monthly salary is people of privilege. So again, I asked the friend who invited me, I say, hey, what is wrong? How come, you are not having the right people in your program? He said, oh, James, again, we are rushing. We have 25 seats. It's all paid for. So we just first come, first serve very quickly, and we manage. So I think there's a lot of things that perhaps you have to unlearn about Southeast Asia now is very different. There are so many interesting issues. Even if you look, I use the word democracy and human rights as I explained to you in the front. We are not here in the business to change governments. That's not what we do. We just critically engage on issues. And if you write nicely, you draft nicely, you present politely, it's accepted. How do you think I'm working 10 years in the region, beyond, if I don't have goodwill? Everybody knows we are there. How you can operate in Cambodia if they don't know? Right? Or Thailand, or Malaysia. Everybody knows, but because you are right, first thing is we are from the region. 2, right? The Thais will always tell me, James, you are such a polite person. They like it. Respectful, but the message is clear, right? Yeah. So I think that's where, the art of sophistication is important. Yeah. I would suggest, let's keep the conversation going, and then slowly, you pick one small topic, small project, you work. It's about trust building. Yeah. You just pick something small, work together, even an event, all of that. Yeah. For example, every year we organize an international conference on different topics. Yeah. Next year is on AI and governance in Asia. We look at civil society, media, democracy. So those are many ways to cooperate. Yeah.
Well, Dr. James,
Yeah.
you pointed out the importance of developing branding and the relevance or the identity as an independent think tank. In this regard, do you want to continue your activities focusing on human rights and democracy only, or are you interested in exploring new area of your activity in the future?
For example,
And what would be the realistic and practical direction you think?
I use the word term democracy and human rights, but it's actually a very minor part.
Yeah.
You don't even see this word in our publication. We do things related with technology. Yeah, so we call it digital rights, digital security. Freedom of religion and belief, while it may sound very big, but it's a huge problem because of the majority, minority, We use the word from the UN, right? These words that you heard me use today, they are all from the UN. Nothing is made up by us. Right? So people also use the word peace building, interfaith dialogue, harmony, tolerance. They're all the same topic, right? We are working with GGI on, carbon emissions. But it is part of the same family of ESG, climate change, environment, So we have naturally evolved. Democracy and human rights maybe is the base, right? But it's very hidden. It's not raised, right? Even we talk about election, we talk about technology. Yeah, the prevalence of fake news and deep fake in election. That's what we are talking about, right? But they come from the fundamentals of the rights. Yeah. So the topics we work on is very, very contemporary. Very, very contemporary. Yeah. So we do disinformation, fake news, digital security. Yeah. Climate
change.
Climate. Yeah. Climate is a big family. So you have to be very clear. Yeah. Now that is an area we can collaborate on because we already are collaborating with GGI, and I know Korean government is very big on this thing. You can start with a mapping study. Very easy. You come up with an idea to map, and then capacity building.
Can you explain something more about your training program? That you have very limited number of staff in this field, but how can you manage training program?
Okay, let me explain.
What are who and how you train?
Okay, so now I give you. We are doing digital security training with Google.
Cybersecurity.
Yeah, cybersecurity. Yeah. With Google for 12 countries in the Indo-Pacific. Korea is one, Japan, Taiwan, Sri Lanka, so on and so forth. So there are 3 steps. First, we do the research. We call it a needs assessment on what are the key and unique threats faced by communities and users in Asia. We do that first. After we do that, we develop the training module. To determine, okay, so these are the threats, what can we do to overcome the threats? After we do that, we train trainers in each country.
Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah, 10, 12, yeah. And then they go and multiply.
So you have your own specialists and trainers?
Yeah, so under the program team, I have people who can speak Indonesian, Hindi, Thai, etc. Obviously not in Korea. Because if we need one, like tomorrow I'm doing a training, digital security training, and then there will be translation. Yeah. So and then we can count.
So many needs in that field.
Training is becoming one of our biggest area.
Capacity.
Yeah, capacity building. Yeah. But before capacity building, you need to do a mapping and needs assessment. Most people go straight to capacity building. So if you design a project, the project should be mapping or needs assessment, curriculum development, training of trainers, and then the monitoring of the trainers. The master trainer, right, should have target for end beneficiary, and then you need to track. That's a 3-year project. Yeah.
Okay, so here we have another Indonesian expert.
Sorry, I tried to make it before 5 p.m.
It's okay. Apa kabar? Okay.
I actually didn't have chance to shake hands with you.
Yeah.
And actually I've been involved in the startup business in between Indonesia and Korea in the last 10 years. And while I was listening to your speech, I felt like startup CEO in the field of civic society, specialized in human rights and democracy, and make a speech, impressive speech, and you try to figure out problem and try to solve it and come up with solution, try to address and fix it, and these kind of things usually you found in any kind of startup. So I feel like then I was very impressed when especially you kind of more of enlightenment, especially to Dr. Hoje, I think so. And some the part of presentations, especially that ones you talk about the establishes the institutionalized academics, university colleges. Yeah, I can't agree anymore. Getting more and more skeptical about the education provided by those traditional established colleges and institutions. And I have one small question, and except the ones like he just brought up about the like AI or tech, they did fake news things. Have you ever experienced any digital economy or startup related project over the last 10 years in your team?
If I understand your question correctly, is in terms of technology, we've done two types of training. Again, like I said, if I didn't answer your question correctly, we can talk afterwards, right, when we shake hands. The first one was to teach civil society, because civil society get into a lot of trouble with government, break the law, this, that, and the other. A lot of the time, they are not clear about the law. So they do things, they make mistakes, and then they get caught. So we have a program called Online Regulations Education. So we train the CS, okay, this is the law, this is what you can do, what you cannot do, and if you think the law is no good, how you can advocate for change. This is a Google supported program, 1 year. We just finished. Yeah. The second one was the security. And the target is actually for politician, human rights commissioner, election commissioner. Again, remember, this is a Google supported project in 12 countries. Last month, we trained representatives and MPs from the Pheu Thai party, the ruling party. Just to give you an example. 2 weeks ago, we trained 50 people from the opposition party in Cambodia. In February, we're going to train a set of parliamentarians in the Philippines, and so on, right? Because these are known as high-risk users. Before the Sri Lankan election, we couldn't get the politicians because everybody was busy for election. So we did the training for the Election Commission Watch. So again, now where we are at, we have designed a proposal, but so far we have not been successful in raising the money, and that, I guess, is your question. We want to run an AI digital transformation training program for CSOs, think tanks, whatever. Because there is very little knowledge about AI, so we want to do like a course for them, AI 101. Then we want to train them on AI tools. What are the tools that we can organize? What are the tools, Asian Vision Forum can use in AI to improve their work efficiency, whether it's research, producing a podcast, or designing digital content?
In my understanding, his question is about not only the thematic approach, but also the agency-based approach. I mean, the users having initiatives to work in social venture or the social and solidarity economy, something like. Do you have any training program for that kind of groups?
For those in, again, which sector?
Social venture or the social and
enterprise
economy.
Social enterprise.
Social enterprise.
We see the training we provide must be agreed by the donor. See, the one who gives the money always decide. Yeah. So they have category, right? So for the first training was CSO. The second training was more for parliamentarians. We sometimes make some suggestions. Like we make a suggestion, but in some country, the parliamentarians only come from one political party. How about the other political parties? Can we do? Then they say to us, yes, you can do, but you must do fairly to everybody. Not just pick one or two of your favorites. Say, no problem. We do for everybody, so they want some equality. So that kind of feedback you can. But for your sector, right, the social enterprise sector, we can design a proposal and look for money, and then we can deliver. It's possible, but you have to find a match.
Okay, already passed the 1.5 hours.
Oh.
So fast. very fruitful discussion we made, I think. And then there is time to close
Yes,
all
yes.
sessions. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I hope it wasn't too long. No problem. Yeah. It's okay. Like I say, I can talk. No problem.